Hello, my name is Magister Lewis, and I'll be reading an excerpt from Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. I am an invisible man. No, I am not speaking like those who haunted Edgar Allan Poe, nor am I one of your Hollywood ectoplasts. I am a man of substance, of flesh and bone, fiber and liquid. I might even be said to possess a mind. I am invisible. Understand, simply because people refuse to see me. Like the bodiless heads you see sometimes in circus sideshows. It is as though I have been surrounded by mirrors of hard, distorting glass. When they approach me, they see only my surroundings, themselves, or fragments of their imaginations. Indeed, everything and anything except me. Nor is my invisibility exactly a matter of biochemistry accident to my epidermis. I am invisible, to which I refer occurs because of my peculiar disposition of eyes of those with whom I come in contact. A matter of construction of their inner eyes, those with which they look through their physical eyes upon reality. I am not complaining, nor am I protesting either. It is sometimes advantageous to be unseen, although it is most often rather wearing on my nerves. Then, too, you're constantly being bumped against by those with poor vision. Or again, you often doubt if you really exist. You wonder whether you aren't simply a phantom of other people's minds, say a figure in their nightmares, which the sleeper tries with all his strength to destroy. It is when you feel like this that, out of resentment, you begin to bump people back. And let me confess, you feel that way most of the time. You ache with the need to convince yourself that you do exist in the real world, that you're a part of all the sounds and anguish, and you strike out against with your fists. You curse, you swear to make them recognize you. And I lied, seldom successful. One night I accidentally bumped a man, and perhaps because of the near darkness, he saw me and called me an insulting name. I sprang at him, seized his coat lapel, and demanded he apologize. He was a tall, blond man, and as my face came close to his, he looked insultingly out of his blue eyes and cursed me. His breath hot in my face as he struggled. I pulled his chin down sharp upon the crown of my head and butted him, as I seen in the West Indies do. And I felt his flesh tearing and blood gushing out, and I yelled, "Apologize, apologize." But he continued to curse and struggle. And I butted him again and again until he went down heavily on his knees, profusely bleeding. I kicked him repeatedly, in a frenzy, because he still uttered insults through his lip, where the fourth with blood. Oh yes, I kicked him. And in my outrage, I got out my knife and prepared to slit his throat. Right there beneath the lamplight in the deserted street, holding him in his collar with one hand and opening the knife with my teeth. When it occurred to me that the man had not seen me, actually, that he, as far as he knew, was in the midst of walking nightmare. And I stopped the blade, slicing the air, and I pushed him away, letting him fall back into the street. I stared at him hard as the light of the car stabbed through the darkness. He lay there, moaning on the asphalt, a man almost killed by a phantom. It unnerved me. I was both disgusted and ashamed. I was like the drunken man myself, wavering about on weakened legs. Then I was amused. Something in the man's thick head had sprung out and beaten him within an inch of his life. I began to laugh at this crazy discovery. Would he have awakened at this point of death? Would death himself have freed him from a wakeful living? But I didn't linger. I ran away into the darkness, laughing so hard I feared I might repute myself. The next day I saw a picture in the Daily News, beneath the caption stating that he had been mugged. Poor fool, poor blind fool. I thought with sincere compassion, mugged by an invisible man. Most of the time, although I do not choose as once I did to deny the violence of my days by ignoring it, I am not so overly violent. I remember that I am invisible and walking softly so as not to awaken the sleeping ones. Sometimes it is best not to awaken them. There are few things in the world as dangerous as a sleepwalker. I learned in time, though, that it's possible to carry on the fight against them without realizing it. For instance, I have been carrying on the fight of monoplating light and power for some time now. I use their services and pay them nothing at all, and they don't know it. Oh, they suspect the power is being drained off, but they don't know where. Although they know it is accordingly to the master meter back there in the power station, a hell of a lot of free currency is disappearing somewhere in the jungles of Harlem. That joke. Of course, it is that I do not live in Harlem, but in the border area. Several years ago, before I discovered the advantage of being invisible, I went through the routine process of buying services and paying the outrageous rates, but no more. I gave up all that along with my apartment and my old way of life. That way, based upon the fallacious assumption that I, like other men, was invisible. Now aware of my invisibility, I live rent-free in the building rented strictly to whites in a section of the basement that was shut off and forgotten during the 19th century, which I discovered when I was trying to escape in the night from Rags the Destroyer. But that's getting too far ahead of the story, almost to the end, though the end is in the beginning and lies far ahead. The point now is that I found a home, or a hole in the ground, as you will. Now, don't jump to conclusions, because I call my home a hole. It is damp and cold like a grave. There are cold holes and warm holes. Mine is a warm hole. And remember, a bear retires to his hole for the winter and lives until spring. Then he comes strolling out like the Easter chicken breaking from the shell. I say all this is to assure you that it is incorrect to assume that because I'm invisible and I live in a hole, I'm dead. I'm neither dead nor in a state of suspended animation. Call me Jack the Bear, for I am in a state of hibernation. Thank you.